Hello again. We've got a storm rolling in, actually a tropical thunderstorm. It's quite beautiful. If we're lucky we might hear a burst of thunder in a second, but there we go. I hope you can hear it. Yeah, we had one last night, and the sun comes out in the morning and it's nice and dry. We just had our midday meal, and then we had our sunbathe and went down the river for our bathe in the Closey River. And a loofah with the river sands, nice white river crystals, and a swim in the river. It was amazing, beautiful. What a life. But today I'd like to share with you more about the 2 meal a day plan, and in particular a study which was done on mice, because mice have a fast maturing speed. They also demonstrate a predisposition to disease and development of disease very readily. And in this particular experiment, they were studying the prevalence or the development of cancer. Now, this study was published in the Journal of Cosmetics and Industry, and I tried pretty hard. I wrote to them and I phoned them in order to get a copy of this study, which was dictated to me by my mentor, Dr. John Fielder, but I couldn't get a hold of it. It was almost like they weren't very helpful at all. It was almost as if someone was trying to suppress the fact that the study existed. But in the study, what had happened, they had two groups of mice, a control group, an experimental group, and the control group of mice could eat anything they wanted, anytime they wanted, as much as they wanted, from the ordinary regime of food. The control group had no restrictions on how much they could eat or on what they could eat. It's just the same as the first group, but they could only eat between the hours of 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. So they were limited in the times that they could eat. At the end of the study, they weighed the mice and they weighed the food, and both groups of mice ate exactly the same amounts of food, same type of food, same amounts of food. However, in the experimental group, the group that could only eat between the hours of 12 p.m. and 6 p.m, they had a 93% less incidence of cancer, and those who did have cancer, the tumours, were 33% smaller in size. That's a pretty big finding. So here you have not the fact of what the mice were eating so much, but the hours or the times at which the mice were eating, because they were eating the same amount of food, because what they were allowed to do was fast, or the body was allowed to do. Because they were fasting for 18 hours a day, the body was able to eliminate the buildup of toxins which comes from not only our natural metabolism, but from the ingestion of foods. So it just goes to show that sometimes it's not what we eat, but it's the fact that we're eating so much, so often, a lot of food, frequently, and we're putting all this load on our body, because digestion is one of the hardest things the body has to do. And the poor old body isn't giving it isn't being given enough time to cleanse itself and catch up on the previous load of work we've given it. Add to that an enervating lifestyle. That's a lifestyle which is draining our energy, whether it be from stress, natural stress, emotional stress, stimulating ourselves with caffeine, other toxins in the environment, foods that are very difficult to digest like meat and so forth. We end up with fermentation and putrefaction in the intestinal tract, and all these things start to poison us. So by giving our body a chance to rest, not only are we catching up on that process of elimination, but the body is able to do some healing of its own inside. So, there's a vital force within us, and there is a wisdom within us, and what we're doing here at the Academy is getting into contact with that and learning a little bit more about that, and that's something that I'm going to be sharing more of as we go. So I hope that was helpful. It's just starting to sprinkle now. I've got a few things to do before it starts raining, so that'll be all for now, but I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.